And on the gold, we actually hit take profit target on the gold yesterday. We had two scenarios. Sorry, we yesterday I made mention of this move. We were able to identify this bullish trend line during the course of yesterday's live session, remember? And I told you that we were actually around this point yesterday when we were doing the live session. We were around this area yesterday when we were doing the live session. And one thing I said was that if you had missed that move that we took the previous day, that is before yesterday, that we should wait for a rejection of that bullish trend line to take advantage of any trend continuation to the upside. And lo and behold, that actually happened. We saw a sharp rejection of that level, and price moved in the upside direction as expected. So if you are taking advantage of that move, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that bullish potential here on the XAUUSD as price went into our take profit target zone, which was around the $1,790 area. And if you had extended, okay, I think the maximum point we are looking at is $1,800 area. And as soon as price got to this level, if you are still in this trade, you want to get out of this trade at this point as the trend line has been broken. We saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line around this point, giving us a sign that we might be having a reversal setup at this point in time. So with this scenario here, what is going to be our trade, what's going to be our plans for the New York session today? So let's quickly look at what we have here. Hold on a second, let me delete this. Let's delete this and scale up to a much higher time frame. And on the higher time frame, if we look at the structure we have here on the higher time frame, it's very, very obvious that we are on a long-term bearish momentum. And as soon as price tested the 1,795 level with this area, that is this area here. Hold on a second, let's identify that level. As soon as price tested this level at $1,795 area, we begin to see reversal structures, and that reversal structure led to the breakdown of that bullish trend line on the 1 hour time frame. But before we go back to the 1 hour time frame, I want to call our attention to something I identified here on the 4 hours time frame. The first thing I observed here is this. We saw this bearish move from here, and price came into $1,753 level to give us a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. We can see the first rejection, the second rejection here, and price broke out of structure to give us that impulsive move to the upside here. So one thing we want to see here, the $1,770 level, which was our key level prior into the movement of that bullish drive, appears to be serving as our neckline at this point. And one thing we all understand from a technical perspective is that if price does a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure or a double top structure, we want to see a breakout and a retest of that neckline to give us further confirmation that we are going bullish. So one thing we want to be doing, since we already have the breakout of that neckline at the $1,770 level, we want to wait for price action to come back into that key level around the 1,770. It could be around here at the 1,773, $1,770 area. Then we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the trend continuation to the upside. So how do we intend taking advantage? Are we going to wait for price action to come here, or do we have a counter trend opportunity that we could take advantage of at around this area here? So let's scale down to a lower time frame to see if we can take advantage of any counter trend opportunity. And when I mean counter trend opportunity, an opportunity that is the opposite direction of the present trend. So now we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, and now let's go back to the bullish trend line we identified earlier. Yesterday we saw this bullish trend line which has been holding price action, but during the early hours of today it was broken to the downside. So one thing I want to be looking forward to is this. There are two scenarios here. If we want to sell the XAUUSD, that is a counter trade opportunity, the one thing I want to be looking forward to is a further breakdown of this level at $1,785. Why $1,785? Why? Okay, that's a good question. The reason why that is if you go left, we can see that we have a resistance point here where price action was rejected by the sellers at this point, and around this point as well, before we saw the breakout, we saw a sharp rejection, giving us a clue into the presence of a selling momentum evolving behind the scenes before we saw that actual breakout. And price is right back at the zone at this point. So we want to see how price is going to relate with this level as we head into the New York session. So there are two possibilities here. Price could either reject that level and push to the upside, or we could have a breakdown of that level. So if we have a breakdown of this level at $1,785 level, then that's going to give us a signal that we are probably having a reversal pattern back into the neckline of the double bottom structure we identified on the higher time frame. Remember, we identified this double bottom structure here. Let me show you again. We identified this double bottom structure here where price broke out of that structure, and we're expecting price to come back and do a retest of that neckline. So if this is going to be happening, that is price is coming back to do a retest of that neckline, then we want to see price actually do a breakout of the structure, that is the 1785 level. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to be patient enough to wait for price action to give us confirmation, and the confirmation can come in form of a rejection of this level, that is price comes back to do a retest of this level, or it could go as far as doing a retest of that level that was rejected during the early hours of today, that is the $1,795 level. Then we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline into the neckline area. So the decline can go as far as this bearish trend line here, but one thing I will be saying here is that we shouldn't be too over ambitious. As soon as price gets into this level, for me personally, my first take profit will be around this level. So, but if you want to stay on till price gets into this area, then if price gets into this level, you want to move your stop loss to either break even or lock in some profit and see if actually price is going to break below into that bearish trend line here. So that is the first scenario we're looking for. But if you are a long-term trader, you don't do short-term, then you want to be patient. You want to be patient and wait for price action to either come down into this level, and then we look out for reversal patterns to join the rally to the upside. So that is one scenario. And so let's see what's going to happen during the New York session. If we further have a breakdown, then we might be having a move into this area. But if we have a breakout of the $1,795 level, that is, if price breaks out of this level, that is, takes out all the selling positions here, then that is a signal that we are going bullish. And remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price action to come back and do a retest of the structure. It could be come back as far as this, or it could do a retest of the $1,795 level before we see the rally into the upside area. So if that happens, then our take profit target should be right at the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. That's around this area, that is between the $1,820 and the $1,830 area, appears to be most appropriate for any bullish potential here on the XAUUSD. And you might be asking, what is this bullish trend line here? Let's go up to the daily time frame and I will show you vividly what that is, and look at it here. So we have this bullish trend line that has been holding price action since the beginning of the year. Let me give you a visual representation. Okay, we have this bullish trend line that has been holding price action since the beginning of the year, before we saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line during the early days of the month of July. And from a technical perspective, we expect price to come back and do a retest of that bullish trend line. So if price actually coming back to do the retest of that bullish trend line, then definitely our take profit target should be around that area. So that's what I identified on the lower time frame. So if price now comes into this level and we see a reversal pattern, we could be going to the downside, or if price breaks out, then we could be looking forward to a trend continuation to the upside. But till then, for now, we want to have our take profit target right around that bullish trend line. And let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. So between the 1,820 and the $1,830 level appears to be most appropriate if we have a breakout of the $1,795 here. So this is the scenarios we are looking forward to on the gold.